Big up Spurs fans near and far with your boy Deji Spurs and your boys. Sean is in the building, Eugene is in the building, Zeus will be in the building, Marlon will be in the building. So you have an all-star cast. We are back with another blueprint. The Leeds game, we already know the result, but it would be interesting to find out from the panel what they were thinking before the game in the location. We're going to dissect Villa this weekend, Everton and Chelsea, before Sean tells me the next run of games is looking very, very budgie bantan. But before we get into that, be good to just hear from my brothers, and then we'll get into it. Sean, how are you feeling, my bro?
It's funny that we're in a better position than I could ever have imagined. To be fair, pre-season I was not, I was a bit meh. Yeah. But we're third. We've got resilience. I think is the big word at the moment when you talk about Tottenham, and we're getting results often when we don't deserve them. It's not good to look at though, Desi. I can't lie. It's not good to look at. I'm having shades of Conte here, and you know how it finished with Conte.
Yeah.
Mate. But it's I'm more than happy with what that we're picking up points when we don't deserve them, and we're not losing games. So that's good enough.
Sean, and Eugene, is that a sign of a winning team, or are you also seeing what Sean is seeing? Because I'm not going to lie, mate. I watched the Wolves game live and direct, and I thought that was one of the justiest performances I've ever seen in my life. But here we are, 7 games in, and we're bloody third. How does that happen?
I mean, I agree with Sean, but I guess I'm negative. Every stream I've been on, I'm called negative because I do agree. It's great that we're getting points that in games that we don't deserve to get points in. However, based on the past, just based on the way kind of things are, it's not sustainable. So even on one hand, I'm happy that we're in this position. On the other hand, this is not going to continue. We're not going to get 4 own goals and 4 deflections, right? That's just not going to be happening. So I am not... I'm happy, but I am really concerned about how we're going to keep going forward, especially that the schedule is going to get tougher for us. Yeah. So unless we somehow survive until January and hopefully we get some reinforcements, otherwise I'm afraid it's going to be a long season.
Yeah. No, and big up to you. And Zeus, you've just come in at the right time. Big up to you. And he's got the Frank engine there. You won't be hearing any choo-choo from me, mate, on this show tonight. I can tell you that for free. Yeah. But big up Zeus in the building. Before we get into it, let's remind the viewers of our previous predictions from the last show. So we're going to quickly play that. That's 2 minutes. Those who need to stretch their leg, stretch your leg. But we are going to play the previous prediction right now. So let's play it now, and then we'll get into it. All games for Spurs.
Can I predict?
And the scorelines, yeah.
I went Man City will win 3-2. Another one. Bournemouth ain't no easy team, but I feel we might be able to get a 2-1 there. West Ham away. That's 6 points already, isn't it?
You can see that laugh. Right now, Marlon's got Spurs to win all 4 games.
West Ham, somehow, they might turn, it might be a draw. Brighton will lose. So that's 7 points. West Ham, I might go for let's go for a 1-0. Brighton will lose maybe a 2-1.
So Marlon's gone 3-2 against... It's 3-2 win against City. You've gone for what, 2-1 against Bournemouth? Yeah. You've gone for a draw against West Ham. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
1-0 draw.
1
and
or
you've gone
maybe a 2-1. Right.
and a 2-1 defeat to
Yeah.
Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zeus, talk to us.
Yeah, so I had okay, it says City 1-1 draw. Bournemouth, tough game. I think we'll lose that one. 2-1. Yeah, Bournemouth
2-1.
is yeah. There's no easy team, man. West Ham we're gonna smash. I'm sure 3-1. That is a home game, by the way. I'm pretty sure. I think it's a home game. And Brighton, I think we're gonna take that. I don't think anyone can score. Like who's Brighton striker? I can't think of anybody.
Brighton got Welbeck. They've got they've got Minty Breath as well. Minty, man, madman. They've got some good players.
No, I mean they lost one. I don't know. I can't see them scoring a lot.
1 second, you know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go for a win there. 4-2.
So I'm going a 3-0 loss against City. We beat Bournemouth 2-1, we beat West Ham 3-1, we beat Brighton 2-1, and I'm going with 9 points. That's simply because I think Thomas Frank will come up with a system that wins us the game. So Marlon's saying 7, Zeus is saying 7, I'm saying 9. Yeah, big up to everyone that's locked in, locked on. So, in the end...
My God, there's some front in those results, huh?
Hey,
God.
Those results was shocking. In the end, in those 4 games, Spurs got 7 points, which isn't terrible, but it didn't happen the way that we thought. A lot of us thought, apart from Zeus was right in terms of winning at City, losing at Bournemouth. Yeah, but we all know what happened at Brighton. That was one dusty performance, I have to tell you. And we did, dare I say it, we did slap up West Ham as we knew we would. So big up to everyone in the location. Just quickly now, the Leeds game. Sean, I'm going to come to you first. Prior to the game, what was your feeling? What was your prediction in the location, given that it was Ellen Road? And then your thoughts on the game before we then get into our predictions. And I'm going to hear from Eugene and Zeus as well.
Was that, I don't know if my memory is playing me right, but was that immediately following Bodo Glimt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so given that was, for me, the nadir of the season, that was the pits. That was so low. It's part of the ocean floor we still haven't discovered. We were terrible in Bodo Glimt. It's the last game before an international break. What do you think I'm predicting?
Yeah.
We hadn't won one in two years.
Yeah. Fair.
Oh no, I was expecting the worst, but we dug it out. I mean, conditions were terrible. The goals were scrappy.
Yeah.
But I'll take 3 points away from Ellen Road every day of the week. Every day of the week.
Fair. Eugene, and welcome, Marlon. We'll get to you. Big up to you, Marlon. Go on. Eugene.
Leeds, back-to-back games of Bodo and Leeds. I'm not gonna lie. Like Thomas Frank, you're not, at a mid-table club anymore. You cannot play Bentancur and Polina against a relegation team. You cannot give up possession to Leeds and to Bodo. Like it's unacceptable. Like playing a double pivot against Leeds, like what are we doing? We got the result, which is again, it's great, but I just don't like the way we're playing. Again, it's not all on Frank, since our front 3 is championship level front 3, and Simmons is still trying to figure out the league, and Frank is trying to figure out where to play him. So from that perspective, I'm cutting him some slack.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing some worrying signs as far as how Frank wants to set up. Like I just want to go back to Nuno ball or Conte ball. Like it's not a team. Like we need to play better ball. So I'll take the result all day long. I'm happy with it. But when we play better teams, I'm afraid that our deficiencies will be our downfall.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope Frank is a magician and finds a way somehow to adapt. I just don't see, options that he has. So, I want him to be brave. On the other hand, I feel like we're lacking the squad for him to do so. So, like, we're stuck at this point. So,
Yeah.
but I'll take the result all day long on the road, on the road.
Fair. And look, let's maybe, I don't know. Zeus has seemed pretty lively. It's been a minute. Have you got a more positive spin on what you've seen so far, Leeds and otherwise? And before we hear from Mr. Foot on the Ground, Marlon.
I mean, to be honest, I think I said this season should be a free hit. In the sense that new manager we just won a trophy. You kind of give some, take a bit of the pressure, let them kind of figure things out. And maybe we got excited. We definitely did with, like, let's say the PSG game and how we play them and all of that. So we came out the blocks. And this, I hope, is the adjustment period, because the football has been diabolical, right? Like 2 games where we're kind of like salvaging draws, that sort of thing. So the football is worrying. Hopefully Frank is trying to learn a balancing act between Europe and the league. But I think the prior panelists have mentioned, like, the handbrake thing is crazy. Like, there's some games Paulinho should not be starting. Like, you don't need him. I don't know if he's in love with him personally, but when you see him on the pitch against, like, Leeds and you're like, yo, what's going on, man? Like, we should be taking it to these guys. Simmons, number 10, just put him in the number 10, like, why is he on, so there's a couple things that I don't know. Hopefully Frank is just kind of figuring out. But I'm not too, too worried per se. Like, I'm not expecting a title push or anything like that. But we're definitely not an elite team. And Frank has to kind of learn how to coach at an elite team or so.
Yeah, wow. To Spurs 5 raid. Big up to you. Thank you very much. Big love. Smash out to my people. Big up to you in the building. And thank you for everyone that's locked on. We are quickly dissecting our club. Do you know what I'm saying? And so far, it's not been as vibrant as I was expecting. A lot of Spurs fans, maybe because of the pain we've been through recently, even though we have got a trophy. We are firmly foot on the ground, but we also do have, aka Mr. I don't know how to call Marlon, because I don't want to seem offensive. Is it Mr. Realistic? Mr. Foot on the Ground? I'm not sure, Marlon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Oh, what was the question? Sorry, I gave my leg.
The Leeds game, reports on the Leeds game, and also, we can probably delve into a little bit the season so far.
Hey, turn off your YouTube, Marlon, because we're hearing the echo.
Why has he got both of them on? But go on, Marlon. Yeah,
It's because I'm driving. I'll jump back on in about 5 minutes.
All right, cool. I'm going to give my prediction in the location. Obviously, I got high standards for our club. So I expected us, or at least I wanted us to be, in and around the top 4. And I'm delighted that I sit here tonight 2 points off the top of the table. But bloody hell, have I seen some dust. That the Wolves game really pissed me off. And the only issue I have with Thomas Frank is the games where we've dropped points, in my opinion, it was avoidable. We didn't have to drop points against Wolves. We didn't have to drop points against Brighton. Just do the right thing. For example, in the Wolves game, why is Kudus on the left? Why did we start Xavi Simons on the left? Why didn't we just start Xavi Simons in the 10? Just keep it simple. Why are we doing experimentation in the location? Doesn't make no sense to me. Then in the game against Brighton, I said it right at the beginning. Udogi got done by Minty. Minty bread. Please do not allow Udogie to start. And literally 10 minutes into the game, we get done by Minty on Udogie's side. I'm like, why isn't Jed Spence there? Why is Xavi Simons on the left? You saw as soon as Xavi Simons came on in the 10, we were able to come back from 2-0 down. I'm like, why didn't we just stop? Like, don't they look at the stats? Don't they look at the previous game? You know, just do the right thing. And again, I'm not even going to lie to you. The Leeds game, I was like, okay, good to see that Simmons is in the 10. I'm not sure about Odebear starting. I'm not sure about tell me what you want, tell me what you need, tell me if I'm good enough for the Prem. Not sure if I want him in the 10. It worked out. So for me, I think if Frank just puts our strongest team out, we could be top of the league, is my thought, but I could also be naive and delusional. But the other thing is, on one hand, I want him to put our strongest team out. The other hand, I am saying, respect that you were able to get a win at Ellen Road starting Tell. Like, let's be real. That's not many teams that are going to be able to achieve that. So I got to see that as a positive, in my opinion. Then, you know, not many, you know, we started Archie Gray, we started Bergval against Burnley, got a win. And in order to, our biggest issue has always been that our players get injured by game week 10. Yeah. And maybe by him doing this rotation and the location, he is preserving the players. And the longer we have Van de Ven, the longer we have Romero, the longer we can kind of compete at the top of the table kind of thing. So that's my view. I'm just going to open it out to the floor. Are you guys in agreement with my little assessment there before we dive into the next 3 games? Sean?
Deji. Me and your brother are going to fall out here. I'm not having you putting shade on Destiny for that Minty goal. Where the hell was Mickey Van der Ven? That was down. It wasn't even down the side. It was in the middle. Where was Mickey Van der Ven?
All I know, yeah, I hear you, but all I know is like there was a big gap on that left-hand side, and it pissed me off.
There was a big gap in the middle.
Yeah,
it said, "Where is number 37?" He's halfway up the field.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not having the shade. We got out of jail. We got out of jail, no doubt about it. I mean, but the bizarre thing was we were the better team against Brighton. Yeah. At that point, we were killing them. And how are we killing them? Because we had a left-footed left back who could get forward.
Yeah. No, fair. I mean, it's just an assessment for me. I just feel like Jed Spence is the best 1v1 left back in the league, in my opinion. And
until he gets a nosebleed crossing the halfway line.
So I'm
not having it. I just don't get. I don't get this Spence love. That he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's great in his own half.
Yeah, it's great defensively.
Sonny, I just met you. I respect you, but on this one with Udogie, look, I can live with defensive issues for an attacking fullback like Trent, right? If you're really good in attack, it's like Porro. It's okay if you get cooked once in a while. Udogie, why cannot he cross the ball on time? He makes the run into the box, and he always takes an extra touch. Every time when that cross is there, the low cross into the box, he never crosses in time. He's always late. He always takes extra dribbles. With Spence, at least, I know Spence
don't go there.
Job.
Extra touch. You want to talk about extra touch? Mohamed Kudus. Extra touch.
Yeah, but Dan Kudus also carries
gave away the ball 14 times in the home.
But that's a deflection. Leg. That's a deflection, though. Let's take on Destiny. With Spence, he locks up other teams' best winger on the right-hand side. So he's limited offensively, but at least you can say he does his job. Udogie is supposed to be an outlet. He's supposed to be our attacking fullback. He never creates. He's always late. He never crosses in time. Also, our winger makes a run. I'm like, Destiny, just play a through ball. He never does. He runs with the ball like a deer in the headlights into the corner, takes extra touches, and crosses the ball late into the box. I don't know. I was so high on Destiny. I'm hoping he's just rusty from all his injuries. I'm hoping we'll see the best from him. But like what I'm seeing now, I just feel like he's a liability. If he doesn't offer anything in attack, I feel like he's a liability for us. I'd rather see Spence on one side, lock up best opposing winger, and have Poirot on the other side help out in attack.
Oh, but then hold on a second. What happens when the team says, well, we won't play our best winger on that side, we'll play it on the other side?
No, but all the best wingers are usually on Spence's side, right? Like Saka, like Salah, like all the best well, not all, but a lot of the best wingers in the Prem are on the right hand side. So
Well,
on Spence's side.
let's pick Brighton. Matoma? He's not on Spence's side.
Sure. No, of course there are exceptions, but I'm just saying like it's good to have options to be able to
I think we need to get off we need to take a bit of a step back about the Spence love.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not
Good
saying I love
defensively, he's great
Spence.
defensively.
He's limited. All I'm saying is at least when Spence is in, I know he will do his job. Udogi, his job is to help out in attack, but he always he takes an extra touch. He does his crosses, passing is not accurate. He is not much help in the attacking side, plus he's a liability going back. So for me, he just doesn't do enough right now.
Yeah. Zeus, you want to come in on this quickly, and then Marlon, and then I've got one more player for us to unpick, and then we'll get into our predictions. But yeah, no, big up. You know, no, I think Sean, you're making a very serious point. You know, you it's food for thought.
There's so much more balance with Udogi. It's just unreal.
I would say, I mean, prior to Udogi or Spence breaking into the side, Udogi wasn't a bad player. Like, he was great offensively. It wasn't like he was a huge weakness in the team or anything like that. So I guess you could say he's an average defender, above average attacker. Spence, of course, incredible defensively. And it's just, what do you want? Like, do you want to lock down the best winger, or do you want to push up a little bit? I think like Eugene kind of hinted at, maybe Udogi's just kind of getting back into it, you know, being out for so long. But I don't think, you know what you're going to get with Spence. He's a great defensive player. So sometimes you might need him. Sometimes you might want more going forward. So I don't think he's played too much. You know, it's just, like it's just up to whatever Frank wants, which I hope is more offensive, which I guess would result in Udogi playing a bit more. But yeah, I'm very okay with both of them.
Yeah, fair. Marlon, I don't know if you're available to kind of chime in on this debate just real quick. Let us know. If not, just on mute. If you can't, don't worry about it. Big up Tony Claude, Arsenal hater in the building, saying Spurs fan are just having a laugh. Smash the lights. Big up to you. And we are doing a stream tomorrow evening, which should be fun. I will be chopping him up, so don't worry about that. There was a comment in the chat that maybe someone was saying, a bit like what you were saying, Zeus, something about one is used for defense, one is used for attack. The one thing I do know, though, personally, is I never want to see Jed Spence at right back after that diabolical performance that I saw the other day when he was playing right back and we had Udogi left. I think Spence is a better left back than he is right. I don't know. Maybe I would have thought he would have been better right back, but he looks better left. The other thing that I've been having issue with, and I know this is not a popular opinion, a lot of Spurs fans, for me, I think Vicario has been suspicious. I cannot lie to you. I think he's been suspicious. And I'm looking at Vicario, and maybe I shouldn't be making comparisons with, early Hugo Lloris, but Lloris was a world-class keeper. Let's not lie. He was fantastic, made some crazy saves. We've gone through a period where Vicario, for me, he couldn't deal with, set pieces, and fine. We knew that was his weakness. But he's let in some bummers this season, in my opinion. The Brighton goal was his fault. Should never have gone in my opinion. The Wolves goal is an absolute disgrace. He should be parting that off. And again, was it in the Leeds game? Was it another mistake in the Leeds game? Shocking. I'm saying if Spurs is serious this season, and we're going to get into it later on, I think Vicario needs to be looked at hard, and I don't think Kinski's the answer. I'm going to probably start with Zeus here. I'm going to start with Zeus, and then I'm going to go back to Eugene before I go to Sean. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember any huge clangers in any of these games. Like nothing stands out to me. So if it doesn't stand out to me, I don't think they've been sizable errors. Like this is not a Hurelo Gomez type of situation where there were like just massive clangers week in, week out. Like I think he's a great short stopper. Like even the whole physicality thing. I mean, a lot of that was like dark arts from Arsenal and all that. Like to me, he's a proper goalkeeper, and he makes saves that he's expected to, and every now and again pulls out like something out of the top drawer. So no issues at all with Vicario, man. I don't know where you're getting your
fair.
Name from, bro.
Mate, I might have to switch. I know where Eugene sits in this. So let me get Sean in then, Eugene.
Sorry, can I?
Oh, go on, you go.
Sorry, I just gotta go for 2 minutes after.
Yeah,
but
that's cool. Cool.
Yeah, sorry, Sean.
No.
But
there you go.
I'll agree and disagree. Where, like, he's not our biggest issue. So this season we have a lot bigger issues to address. So I don't think buying a new keeper this season is reasonable because we need, striker, left winger. We need, I would say, another 8. However, if we want to be a top team, just Vicario is a good shot stopper. However, when I watch him play, he doesn't give me confidence. I'm nervous. I can only imagine, the defenders. Like at 27, I think he's 27. Yeah. He just will not get better. Like his set piece defense is an issue, and I don't think it's going to change. He's not as strong as he's supposed to be. I don't think that's going to change. His ball distribution is lacking. Like that's not going to change. So is he good for us if we want to be a top 6 side? Sure. However, if we want actually to make a move and actually challenge for top 3, let's say, I just don't think long-term he's good enough. Again, he just makes me nervous. He makes some world-class saves, but then on the other hand, sometimes he just looks shaky. And he just, like a lot of the goals this season that we give up, it's just like some, rebounds. He can control the ball. He's all over the place. He just doesn't instill me with confidence. So again, on one hand, he's not our biggest issue. On the other hand, next season, I think we should definitely get a better keeper if possible.
For real, no, big up Eugene. And I think, look, Destiny says Vicario has cost us and saved us. I just want a steady keeper. And that speaks to Eugene's feeling of wanting to feel a bit more comfortable. But Sean, where do you sit on this? We've not discussed this ourselves. I know you've heard me spout my narrative. Where do you sit with Vicario? Because I think the Spurs fan base is split on this.
Oh, very much so. I mean, you just have to see follow any bit of social media, and you can see that there's a split on it. I mean, obviously, I was blessed because I'm such an old git. My keeper was Jennings when I first went to see Spurs, so I saw the best goalkeeper Spurs have ever had, even now, half a decade later. But to be fair, the only error I've seen, or the only clear error I've seen from our boy Vic was the Brighton goal, and that was dreadful. However, that was not helped by Bergvall having a bit of a brain fart just 2 yards outside our penalty box, and deciding to, instead of just passing it back to Porro for him to well it up the field, he decided to turn around. So I mean, you could say he was wrong-footed, and he was never going to stop that shot. But yeah, I would say that was one. But the other one, I mean, the Forest goal, the Forest goal, or the Wolves goal, is he blamed for that? He pushes the ball out. Paulinho, with his concrete shins, decides to put it back into the bloody danger area. Yeah. So he's to blame. He's getting the blame for the fact that the midfielder couldn't deal with the ball that was parried out to him. our player.
Yeah.
So I'm not having that. I'm not having that as an error. I'm not having the what's the other one? The Leeds one. The ball is struck about 12 yards out with power, takes a deflection, and he manages to parry it away. Where was the defenders? And it was my boy Destiny who was closest. So, hands up, Destiny. You should have been better for that. So I'm not having this shade being thrown on Vicario at the minute. He's not in the same league as an Allison or an Edison or Donnarumma. Donnarumma could have.
Or a Kelly.
Huh?
Or a Kelly from Brentford.
Well, that was one we missed. Yeah, definitely one we missed. But he's I think Donnarumma is actually going to help City win the title. Actually, I think that's been an absolutely crucial buy. And he's not a pet goalkeeper. He's not a ball player. He's got problems on his feet. But for God's sake, that Bodo Glimt second goal. What were they doing? Passing it to him on his goal line, on his left foot.
Yeah.
What was our defence doing?
Yeah.
This is what this. I'm going to go back to Spurs.
I'm glad you're mentioning Bodo because I even forgot about that. To be fair,
that was the one he hoofs up into the air, but that was because he was put in that situation by our bloody defenders who didn't know who were losing their heads.
Yeah,
because we'd had a goal disallowed at the other end.
Yeah.
Sometimes our defence have got to be better and help him out. And not stick their concrete shins in the way, or not be going, oh, that was a very good save, Vicario. Oh shit, they've scored. I think he's getting too much shade. I wish he was better on crosses. I wish he would come out like Big Pat used to do. And if you're in my way, I'm gonna clear you out.
I mean, I agree. I just don't, like this comment here from TikTok Shorts. He says, look at Rare's save against Olympiacos. I saw that save. I think it was a volley. It looked like it was going in top corner. Somehow Rare gets his hand to it. It's a sort of save that Loris would make. And I saw Loris make some crazy saves. And you think, how the hell did he save that? I don't think like that with Vicario, dare I say. He hold
on a second.
He doesn't do any crazy stuff.
One of the worst performances. You said it yourself, Deji. Bournemouth. We lost 1-0 going on 6. And why wasn't it 6? Because of Vicario. Because of Vicario. He saved us more than he's let us down. So I'm not having. I think he long term maybe he's not the answer, but I think people are just trying to create a problem where there isn't one. And keepers really need confidence. Confidence comes from the fact that you feel that they're backed by their defenders, but also by us as the fans as well. We have a role to play in this.
No, fair. Look. At the end of the day, we all want our club to be the best and to do the right thing. Destiny says we need to help Vicario and understand we should let him boot it out if he's in doubt. Yeah, because all of this playing the ball at the back to the. There was one time. There were moments where I'm thinking, why you can see that the opposition player is literally on the neck of Van der Ven. Why would you want to give him the ball in the danger area like that? I don't get it. And also Thomas Frank doesn't seem like the manager that would request to do that. Like, I think he's a common sense manager where he says, you know what, if the centre backs are being pressed or the attackers are too close to the centre backs, go long. But yeah, I see him making some of these odd decisions, and I'm just wondering where that has come from. Marlon, have you got any comments about your keeper Vicario? I can already tell you, Marlon is here shaking his bum, saying that he's probably the best keeper in the league. Marlon.
I wouldn't say best goalkeeper in the league, but I think Sean's hit quite a few valid points where he has saved us a lot more than he's cost us goals. Yeah. I think he's actually a very good goalie. I just think Spurs fans sometimes can be very critical, and they don't need to be. Even with the whole Spence thing with Idoggy's way better than Spence. What Spence? And he offers nothing going forward on the left. But when you've got Idoggy there, Spurs are more balanced. But Yeah, I just jumped back to that argument. But in fairness, Vicario is a very good goalie. I just think Spurs fans are just very critical at the moment. I don't know what they're expecting. Maybe they just like to moan sometimes, but you have to sometimes
Like more than
appreciate him
scoring
because,
goals or something.
to be fair, he's saved us a lot. Even in the last game, he pulled off some good saves against Leeds. Leeds could have easily scored maybe one or two other goals, but no one's looking at that. They're looking at the goal. They're looking at the goal he conceded, which actually weren't even his fault. So
Are they
I think
Are
Spurs
they?
fans is critical.
Did he save us, or are they saves he should be making if he's a top 6 goalkeeper? Not, and I'm not throwing any shade. I'm just saying, like, if you're a top 6 goalkeeper, you're kind of expected to kind of make them kind of saves, no?
No.
Marlon?
You're talking mince, Deji. You're talking
Really?
mince, as they say up here. Yeah, I
Really?
think it's
You're
oh
spot
my
on.
God.
No, you're spot on. No, Deji, you're spot on. Again, he's not a bad keeper. Again, he's a top 6 keeper. I would say he's a top 6 keeper. However, it's not too much to ask your keeper to claim the crosses. Like every time there's a set piece against us, I'm nervous. Every time there is, like there is a fast break against us, I just feel like the defenders are nervous. He parries the ball. Like I just don't feel like he is the level to compete for the league, and we're not there yet. That's why I'm okay with Vicario, because we're not competing for the league. However, again, in 2 years, if we want to challenge for top 2, 3 in the league, we just need somebody with more balanced game. We need somebody stronger. Like if you give him some steroids, if he bulks up, if he gains 10 pounds of muscle, and he's going to be able to push some some attackers around.
Yeah.
I'm all in. He's just too slight for me. He's wiry. He's not strong. He needs big defenders to protect him, and he gets in trouble sometimes. But as a shot stopper, he is a top shot stopper. I'm not gonna lie. He's definitely a top shot stopper in this league. However, sometimes that's just not enough.
Yeah, fair. And
Which is
maybe
not to say, but
But you make a valid point, and maybe it's about expectations and how we see our club. And you already know about me. I'm innocent until proven guilty. So we are involved until we're not involved. I want to ask one more question before we then go into our predictions. Based on what you've seen so far, my criticism of Frank has been he's just set out the wrong team. I think if he put out our strongest lineup in certain games, we would be top of the league. I'm not suggesting that Spurs are going to win the league. I'm not suggesting that we're the best team in the league, but I am suggesting that we could be top had certain decisions been made, and that's been on Frank, and that's why before the Leeds game, I slightly had Frank on fraud watch, just to say, like, I don't want to see nonsense like Xavi on the left, and I don't want to see craziness. So based on this, based on what you've seen, with the current squad, what is our strongest lineup to you? And I'm opening that up. Whoever wants to go first can go first.
I think it depends on who we're playing. And one thing I'll give to Frank, unlike Ange, it looks like he's changing things up based on who we're playing. Although I expected more formation changes from him. And we only saw the 3 in the back against PSG. Every other game, the setup was pretty much the same. So I just think his options are limited. He's looking at our front 3 and saying, I'd rather have Xavi on the left than anybody else, which isn't the right move. And I'm hoping he learned his lesson. Play Xavi centrally and never put Kudus on the left. So, like, if we're playing against the likes of Liverpool, like really good teams, then I can see Bentancur and Paulinho together. However, I never want to see those two play against the likes of Wolves and Leeds, because we need Bergval, who's the runner. We need somebody from that 8 spot to push the ball and help out in attack. And Bentancur, I'm so down on him. Again, maybe it's my expectations, but I just feel like with him, he passes the ball back every single time. He doesn't put through balls in. He doesn't help us on attack. He just plays safe balls back to Romero, who's our only passer, like good passer, who puts the balls deep. So our front three, as I said, I mean, our options are shocking. Hopefully Solanke is back soon. And I'm just hoping we get something out of him. Otherwise, tell Richarlison, Oeber, like, and that's why, Sean, you were saying how Kudus over dribbles and just takes too many dribbles, but I think as he's looking around and he's the only one who can do anything. He's like, either it's gonna be me, I'll try to beat 4 defenders or pass the ball to Richarlison. I think he's like, I'm gonna do it myself. So I think that's just that. He's our only outlet. So so my issue with Frank is in the transfer window, if it was him who said, I don't want anybody else on the left, I only want Savio, that was a mistake. So let's see what happens in Jan. But as things stand right now, as long as he plays Xavi centrally and Kudus on the right, I think based on the position, he can change up the midfield. Sometimes play Sar, sometimes play Bergveld, sometimes play, a Bentancur. Palhinha showed that he is probably our best. Well, he's awesome. Like for me, he's the player of the season so far. He's making a huge difference for us. So I know you cannot play him every single game, but I want to see him in most games. But then as far as the rest, I would change it up based on the position, and also with Spence and Udogie. Frank can also change them up based on the position that they were playing.
Can I just thank you, Eugene? Can I just throw a spanner before the next person goes? So for me, I thought the player of the preseason was Papsar, and I'm not gonna lie, I have slightly been a bit surprised that brother hasn't been starting, and but Bergveld got the nod, and rightly so. Look, Bergveld had been playing well, and if you play well, you deserve a start. But I did think like, I don't know. But Sean, Zeus, thinking about Papsar as well.
Wait, sorry, is this like our best 11?
No, you're asking what is our strongest 11? I mean, people in the comments are saying. Well, I mean, you can only base on what you've seen. You can't. We can't bring in Madders and Kulusevski. We don't know how they fit into this system, based on the current squad.
Okay, cool. Sean, I don't know if you mind if I go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, just land me in it here.
No, I can
no. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's I think I'm a bit like Eugene. It's opponent that dictates what the team. We don't have a number 11 that an 11 that I would pick week in, week out. We don't have that, and that would be a bit mad on like you, Deji. What's happened to Papasar? I thought he was fantastic early in the season, and just seems to have been dropped for no apparent reason. He's not done anything to deserve it as far as I'm concerned. And there are times when we've said it before. I think it's sometimes you need megs, sometimes you need legs, and that brother has got legs. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised. As I say, I have my favourites, and one of my favourites, in actual fact, is Bentancur. I know he's not very popular, but he does a lot of unrecognised shit, basically, particularly at the base of our midfield. So I think I wouldn't choose him necessarily over Palhinha if we wanted to just have a single pivot. But I think he again, they seem to be throwing shade on the brother, and I'm surprised at that. But yeah, I mean, there isn't a number, there isn't a 1 to 11. Well, with a few options maybe. My 11 will include Vicario, Van der Ven, Romero, Simmons, Kudos, Odegaard,
Charlton.
Well, Richarlison of the first 3 games, yeah, he was unbelievable. But again, he seems to have, disappeared into the shade. I just wish he would, harden up a bit and not bleat by lying on the ground calling for a free kick every time some defender puts his knee in his arse, But yeah, I mean they're the ones. So it's those ones, and then you plug and play depending on the opposition.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. For me, so far, I mean, as I say, I'm a big fan of Destiny, and I'm actually a big fan of Spence, but in a right back. The Spence of Nottingham Forest used to just tear up the right wing.
Yeah.
So where's that Spence gone?
Yeah.
Conte killed him.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. Marlon, you come off mute. It looks like you want to interject.
Because they always send them in.
We're talking about what you've seen so far could be our strongest 11, but no one's really been able to kind of pin down a strongest 11, which is quite worrying.
Well, that's our issue.
It's a quite worrying thing if we're not able to pin down our strongest 11. But Marlon, you've muted yourself. So Zeus has been. I've seen Zeus with his pen, literally scurrying away, writing some notes. What have you managed to conjure up whilst you've been there?
This is nothing great. I was just putting out the lineup. I mean, shout out to TikTok Shorts.
Yeah.
He called me out. He said Zeus, aka Patrick Vieira, writing things down like Spurs. Some side of tidal race is killing me. It's the lineup, man. Anyways, but first 11, I think Kudus for sure, right wing. Richarlison, because there's no one else. Odebear, a little bit more than I've tell has had more time and hasn't. I mean, he scored finally, but I think Odebear deserves just a bit more time there to see what he can do. Simmons in the 10.
Yeah.
Bergvall, in the middle as well. I think Paulinho it's a specialist role, but just I know depending on who we're playing, but he's the best in that specialized role. So I'll put him in there. Yeah, I'll put him in there. Then the defense, Porro, Romero, VDV, Udogie, and Vicario.
You know what? I would put Paulinho or Van de Ven as our 9. They score better than our strikers. Van der Ven scores some worldies every time. So I swear, I would put Van der Ven as our 9. I bet you he'll score more than Richarlison and Tel combined. That's
mate, based on Van der Ven's performances for the Netherlands, mate, there's a shout that he could play left wing. I mean, I know he plays left back, but the brother's been flying up and down like a madman. Is there a shout that maybe we should just push Van der Ven out
that's
left?
not happen, but he's a typical Dutch player. He's very skilled on the ball. He has the pace, and he can finish with the right and the left leg. I mean, of course, it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, every time Paulinho has a chance, seems like he puts it away. Van der Ven puts it away, and our strikers need deflections and own goals and like 15 different chances. So it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, fair. Marlon, I don't know if you want to interject. If not, we're going to go straight into the predictions for the next 3 games. Okay, that's fine. I take that as an... Okay, so look...
Can I say, sorry, one thing before you go? And that's a question for you guys. When we were talking about Udogie versus Spence, my personal feeling, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, there's this misconception, I feel like, that we're very solid defensively, but in most games that I watch, other teams have a lot of chances. They're just not good enough to put them away. So people say Frank fixed our defending. I don't think that's the case. Bournemouth could have scored 6. Leeds, Bodo, all of them have chances. They're cutting through us. Not as bad as last season, but
even Burnley,
exactly,
if they had a striker, could have scored 2 or 3 goals.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So the whole thing, the Frank fixed our defense, I don't think that's the case. So that's why I would play Spence more to help us out defensively. That's why kind of my case of Spence versus Udogie, because we need help defensively. Because when Udogie and Porro are bobbing forward, it's Van der Ven and Romero on an island, and we're being cut through wide open. So,
but is it?
I don't want to.
No. I just want to make this point before we do our predictions. But is it a case then that, based on what we've said this evening, has Thomas Frank pulled out a rabbit out their hat? Has he done a miracle here? Because if it's not been that great, we sit third in the table, lads.
I'm gonna say
Like,
that.
we are top 3. That means he must be doing an impressive job with this dusty team in a way.
Deji. I would put it this way, Deji. If you can't be good, be lucky.
Yeah.
And I think Frank has been very, very lucky. We've not come up against an Arsenal who've got, threat up front. We managed to get City when they were still trying to assemble their team.
Yeah.
Come up against the Liverpool. Come up against a team that look how peppered we were by Bournemouth.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think we're not. There's two things. We're giving away too many chances, and we're too cautious at home. At home, we should be all over teams like Wolves. Wolves haven't won a game.
Yeah.
I must admit, the home games have been very annoying, to be fair. And I think it's having two, let me say, holding midfielders there. This doesn't give us an outlet. You need to have some legs in there. And even playing Bergwall as number 10. He's not number 10.
No, I don't want to see him in the 10.
Yeah.
I never want to see him in the 10 again.
As you said, we're sitting third. So, yeah, let's see.
If you can't be good, be lucky.
That's
we've got a lucky coach.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, Ghosted says here, the next run of games will show us where we are really at. So our next run of games is we are at home to Villa this weekend. I'm going to have Josh on this show, hopefully this week, where I'm going to be chopping that brother at one of the dustiest teams I've seen in my life. We then go away to Everton. And then we got a bloody home time. Why is game week 10 always against Chelsea? Can the people who do the fixtures stop putting Spurs Chelsea at game week 10? I'd rather that be the first game of the season, in my opinion, to be honest. I'm done with game week 10 because that's the kind of, we know 10 games is where it all gets very interesting for Spurs fans. So, who would like to kick us off? The next 3 games, Villa, Everton, Chelsea.
I would say I'm going to be tricky. Going after them last 2 home games, it don't surprise me if Spurs draw. But I think we're going to win somehow. Everton, they're not a bad team, They're actually not a bad team with their new midfield, I would say. They're not actually a bad team, so I'd say that's a draw.
I'll take Ndiaye all day long on the left, that Ndiaye guy.
Yeah, Ndiaye is good.
Sean, we saw him for the first time last season when we won 4-0. What a player.
Who?
Ndiaye, the left winger for Everton.
Yeah,
we could do with him on the left. We could do with him on the left at our club. Honestly.
I think Spurs are over-reliant on Kudos anyway, at the moment. But anyway, I'll say we'll beat Villa. I think we'll beat Everton. Chelsea at home. I don't know. I'm going for 3 wins.
Why
Love
not?
it, Marlon. Love it, Marlon.
That's my
Marlon,
heart.
can I just say something? Marlon, you weren't on the show, but Zeus predicted 9 points. I predicted 9 points. You predicted 7 points, and you were absolutely spot on. Not in the order, but you predicted that Spurs would get 7 points in those 4 games, and we actually got 7 points. So we got to take, Marlon's feeling like 3 wins there. We got to take it a little bit serious there. So Marlon, is that 3 wins, and what's the score?
Yeah, no, score you're pushing. I don't know. I'll come back to you.
We'll come back to you. All right, next. Who's next up?
I'll go next. We're not all rushing, are we?
We're not rushing.
No. I'm more confident about beating Villa now. That Watson got himself cropped playing for England, because that's their only source of goals. Yeah. So I think we'll beat Villa. Everton, I think we might nick a point there, and I think we're going to beat Chelsea. I think it's overdue. Yeah. I think the shades of Oliver Skip volleying that in off the top of the crossbar in that 2-0 win. I think Chelsea can be got at, and I think this is the time to get at them. So lucky coach Frank Thomas the Lucky will get us 3 points. I'm going 7 points.
Do you want to give us a score prediction for each game, Sean?
All right, for Villa, we're going to win 2-0.
Yeah.
Everton will be an entertaining 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
And Chelsea, we're going to win 3-1.
Hey, Chelsea 3-1, Sean.
Yeah, I'm going for it. It's about time we slapped up those boys, you know?
Yeah, they need a slapping, though, to be honest. They need a good whacking. Zeus.
Yeah. This is Emery.
Everyone's not looking forward to these predictions. Usually you guys got a lot of energy when we do these predictions. Everyone's looking kind of morose right now. Are we
break.
Yeah, go on.
It's national break, man. But yeah, Villa, they don't look like they're at it this season at all. I'm going 2-0. Yeah. Everton, this new, like, Moyes 2.0, is it 3.0 at this point? Like, they look like they got something about them. So I think we're going to lose that one. 2-1 loss. And Chelsea, I don't see it this season. I think we're going to smash them. Let's go 4-0.
Hey?
Yeah.
4-0.
4-0.
That Everton one, though, you got me slightly rattled. I can't even lie.
Yeah, Everton, there's something there for sure. But I don't rate Chelsea this season. Like I think the wheels have come off. Like chopping and changing every season, adding 20 or so players. You can't keep doing that. So I think it's caught up with them.
Also, Zeus, they've picked up a lot of injuries in the last while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
Well, Destiny says what, and he's saying what to Zeus there. I think he's thinking that it's a wild one. But Eugene, what are you saying, bro?
You know what? It's funny. Every time something looks very obvious, it always goes the other way. So when we look at
welcome to Tottenham,
they can't score goals. They're and like it's never that simple. You know what I mean? So I'm afraid, like with Villa, they can score goals, but we can't really score goals either. Zeus, when you mentioned 4 goals, I'll be happy if we score 4 goals combined in all 3 games. I just don't see where the goal, like, unless it's a set piece or an own goal, I just don't see where our goals are coming from. So Villa cannot score. So like Villa, I see it like 1-0, either like our way or their way. I'll be positive. I say 1-0. We'll beat Villa. Like we'll score in a set piece. Everton is going to be tough. If we struggled away at Leeds and Blotto, like Everton, I take a point at Everton.
Is that 1-0?
Sorry, guys. Sorry to interject, but I completely forgot that we have Mwani on the squad. Like I just forgot he exists. So yeah, I don't know. That changed the thing. The best 11 and all that. I forgot about him completely. Like.
Nah. Yeah. Sorry, Zeus. I don't rate him. But we'll see. Like, I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't. The best thing he's ever done in his career was miss that breakaway to give Messi the World Cup. That's why I like him. Everything else that he's done, I haven't been impressed. But, I mean, if he plays, I'm looking forward to Solanke, actually, because I want to see if Solanke can back into form, at least give us 14 goals or 15 goals, and at least be an outlet. Because right now our issue is that Kudus is the only outlet. Richarlison can hold the ball up. He can link up play to save his life. So at least Solanke, if he doesn't score, he can offer us that. So yeah, Villa, I'd say will, get 3 points somehow. 1-0. Everton 1-1. So Chelsea's a tough one. So when I've seen them, they haven't been impressive. Their defending is shambolic. However, they just beat Liverpool. Like, if Palhinha can contain Caicedo somehow, we might have a chance, because Caicedo has been awesome. And
doesn't Caicedo play in the same role as Palhinha?
Yeah, but just in general, though, I'm saying, like, so that's the game to play Bentancur and Palhinha, right? So if both of them can contain their midfield. we might have a chance, because they also don't really have a cutting edge. They don't have that, 30 goals a season striker, and their keeper always has a bozo moment in him. So I'm hoping, you know what? I'll be really optimistic. I say 2-2. So I say we get
Crazy.
I think I'm leaning towards Marlon with his 4 own goals.
Yeah.
With that
Yeah, I mean,
defense.
like, I think we can score against Chelsea just because their defending is shocking, and Sanchez has a bozo moment in him, at least one per game. So if we take advantage of their mistakes and we don't make any mistakes of our own, again, as Deji said, or one of you guys said, like, it's time. It's time we get some luck on our side against Chelsea. So I'll take a point there. Everton, I'll take a point, and somehow we'll need to, to get past Villa, which we should be able to. So I would take 5 points, and that's
5
me being
points.
optimistic. I can
Yeah.
go the other way as well, but
Mate, I, honestly, so Sean has got 7 points, Zeus 6, Eugene 5. It's slowly going down, to be honest. So I'm expecting Marlon to turn up with a 4, to be honest with you. But I'll just give you my quick view. So historically, I actually think Spurs get the better of Villa. Usually we don't. Every time we've gone into games playing Villa, I don't necessarily feel like we've been on form, but we always seem to get the win. More 9 times out of 10, we beat Villa. I would almost go as far as to say that we are a bogey team for Villa. They struggle against Spurs, even if they get the win, the odd win here and there. They do struggle. So I could see Spurs getting a 2-1. I don't think we'll get a clean sheet. I think our defense is too suspicious. But I think Spurs will sneak a 2-1 victory. The other thing is, though, my head is telling me that we will get a draw against Everton. But my head is also telling me that Everton is one of our whipping boys. Everton, home or away, is another team that historically Spurs get 3 points against. And sometimes there are these kind of patterns in football that you can't ignore. And one of them is Spurs always beat City. Spurs always beat Everton. Guaranteed.
What happened last year then?
I know that was a freak season. We were under Ange. But generally speaking, Everton fans no doubt would agree. They don't like it when they're playing Spurs because they know some madness will happen. I think we drew 2-2 at their ground, didn't it? Did they not score a last-minute goal? We drew 2-2. We didn't lose.
When last season?
Yeah. We didn't lose at Everton, did we?
Yeah, we lost.
Yeah, we lost 3-2.
3-2.
We wrote 3-0 down in about 3 minutes or something.
Yeah, okay. Or was it that Braithwaite? But look, historically, generally, Spurs usually beat Everton. So I'm going to say that somehow, some way, Spurs will stink out the place and get a 2-1 win. And then based on that logic, we don't beat Chelsea, do we? I agree though, Sean. Last season, it was our season to beat Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Was it Liverpool that we beat at home? Did we beat Liverpool last season or the season before?
we
beat
Liverpool in the cup game.
Yeah. But also in the league, the season before, we beat them at home 1-0, isn't it? You know, with they could have scored the last minute. But so basically, I agree with Sean. We are overdue a win against Chelsea. I mean, at some point, it's got to bloody happen. My only issue is that I wouldn't be surprised if we lost because that's what happens. Spurs, Chelsea, we lose. But home game, with no injuries, why can't we? So I'm going to go with... And also, even when we lost to Chelsea last season, we could have won. I'm not shaking my bum for them. And I think Sanchez is one of the worst goalkeepers I've ever seen in my life. So I'm going to go with my heart here, not my head, and say that Spurs win 2-1. 9 points.
Like, what's funny is I can justify any result in any one of those games. It just depends the way I look at it. I can see us, losing 1-0 or winning 1-0, like in every one of those games or getting a draw. The way we've been playing, it's so weird for me. Again,
Yeah.
we're getting results somehow, which I can see us doing again, or we can just not score if our luck runs out. So it's very tricky.
I don't know what Ray is saying. We never to Everton. Last season we lost. Well, anyway. Yeah, that's last season. But generally speaking, Spurs slap up Everton. Just check. You can Google that. That I know. They are our whipping boys. We do this to them. So and I don't see why this would be any different, especially if we're pragmatic and we're not doing the high line for life. I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs went away and got a 2-1 victory over there. Marlon, you can throw in your prediction, or I'm just going to drop in the last little comment before we leave.
Oh, sorry, Dej. Look at Destiny's comment. Well, but the Newcastle game, that's a cup game, right?
Is that a cup game? Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
it is.
Newcastle game.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Should we talk about that quickly? Carabao Cup, Newcastle away.
Tough game.
Yeah.
We can never beat them.
Anyone think we can get through that? You gotta get
It's
through.
rotation. I think.
I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game.
Are you going? All right, quality, Sean.
I've got a ticket. Yay! My home game.
But speaking of bogey teams, they're our bogey team. We can never beat them.
Yeah. I think Newcastle.
Do you know what? I've seen us win a lot of games at St James's Park, but the last time I went was 5-1.
Yeah, we've done quite a lot. But then
5-1. Yeah.
the thing is, we beat Newcastle, but when they beat us, it can be some mad scoreline. They've given us a hiding a few times. So.
And remember, it's their trophy they're defending, so they'll probably want a. Yeah.
Are you bothered if we get knocked out by Newcastle?
Nah, we got Champions League, man.
It's a League Cup, FA Cup. I would be more the League Cup. I mean, a trophy's a trophy, but if I have to pick and choose, you know what? Like, if it happens, it happens.
Give me domestic silverware. Yeah, I want us to beat Newcastle.
I saw that. I saw that tie and I completely blocked it out of my head. To be honest with you, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put that in a box somewhere and forget about it, because Newcastle away is no joke. Like, that's the one tie I didn't want to have. I'd rather play bloody
up north.
Yeah, it's not
cold up north. Bring your long
It's gonna be a battle of the midfield. Palhinha and Bentancur versus Tonali, Bruno, and what's the other cat's name?
Joe Linton.
Yeah, Joe Linton, man, he is a bully. So that's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Gonna be great. But did we not draw with them out in Hong Kong? You know, it wasn't that bad, and they played a pretty strong team that time. But hey, you know, stranger things have happened in football. Lastly, gentlemen, has anyone, based on what you've seen so far, I probably know the answer to this, has anyone's predictions slightly changed for the season? I'm hearing people saying I didn't expect Spurs to be involved in the title. I should say to you, you probably didn't expect Spurs to be in the top 3 at this stage in this season under Thomas Frank. Stranger things have happened. Arsenal do what they're doing at the moment, looking very spicy, looking like red hot chili peppers, but we already know what they're about. And Liverpool, I had slot on fraud a lot before the season started. Can Spurs... I actually think all we got to do is hang in until January, be in the top 3, go and get Semenyo, go and get a striker. If we get Semenyo, we are a top 3 guarantee.
Season.
Deji.
Why not? 70 mil.
Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself.
Exactly. Don't do it to yourself. Semenyo's not coming to Tottenham.
I mean, I would kill for Semenyo, but let's not.
Those new owners, right?
Yeah, we should be getting right, no?
New owners.
Same. It's the same owners.
Well, new administration, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's the 80-year-old kids. It's the same, same Inik.
Give me the boy Lookman. Give me the boy Lookman from Atalanta.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get him though, because we could have gotten him right like earlier, but for some reason Frank didn't like him. So,
but the thing is,
Kulusevski's back by then, right?
We're top heavy though. Spurs have got a lot of attacking players,
Yeah, Kulu will be back.
Oldenburg, Madison to come back. What? Madison might be back.
Madison
no, next season ACL. So it's next season.
Next season.
Well,
Yeah,
Kulu,
Kulu's coming back, but I don't know where Kulu's going to play, to be honest. But that's a different conversation.
I think
a bit of good news. A bit of good news. Basuma did his ACL.
for real?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no Turkey for him?
That's sad, actually. That's sad.
It
Yeah.
is sad. It's sad, but Basuma's on his way out. I think that's clear. I don't think he has a
Oh,
place
wow.
in this Spurs team
9 seconds
at all. But look,
against Malmo.
Jordan Two Hots has said the title is on, although fans will never believe.
Hey.
What say you?
If we get an own goal in every single game, then we'd have a chance.
Well,
I mean,
Solanke
to
comes
your original
back.
question. Sorry.
Solanke comes back soon, right? And automatically starts, right? Just because Richarlison is not. Oof,
I think he's our best striker. Yeah.
Yeah,
Solanke
so
gotta-
that adds a huge dynamic.
I think Tottenham can get Semenyo in Jan. I don't know why people think we can't. It's 70 mil and he's in the door. If we want to show that we're a top four and ambitious club, you put 70 mil down and you get Semenyo through the door. Is it because
No,
he
it's not
said he's
gonna
an
be 70
Arsenal fan? I don't
It's
give
not
a
gonna
damn
be-
if he's an Arsenal fan. He's a professional. He's got to go to work.
He's got a 5-year deal there. It's not going to be 70 million. Plus, there are like 4 bigger clubs than us who all want him. So when it comes down to us or Arsenal, Liverpool, like the big boys, we have no chance. It's not even about the money at this point, right? If the money is equal, he's not going to come to us, and it's not going to be 70. It's going to be more than that. I would pay it personally. I would love him, but he's going to go to a bigger club.
Destiny says,
I think it's going to be closer to 100.
Yeah, for sure. That I agree. 5-year left on his contract. Yeah, it's going to be 100. Mitoma, it's not going to happen because Brighton wanted like 85 or 90 million for a 27-year-old. So that's too much money. That's not going to happen either. I love Mitoma. He's a great player, but that's not going to happen.
Fair. Zeus, you've not answered this question, and Marlon, are we under the radar? Are people not respecting us?
Based on how we're playing, I don't think we should be respected, man. Like football has been like Bodo Glint. Like I was thinking, maybe there's a chance we can. But the Bodo game, nasty stuff, man. Wolves, it was
Bournemouth.
Yeah, like Bournemouth, I thought it was a one-off. I thought it was a one-off, but some of the performances have been. I turned off the Bodo game. I was like, yeah, I can't do it with this, man.
Yeah, we should have lost that Bodo game. If we had lost 5-2, you would have been like, 5-2 would have been fair. They missed some sitters, and they missed a pen as well. Let's not forget. So, it was a disgraceful performance from our.
You don't know, taking into consideration the pitch. The pitch plays a key role,
Oh, come on.
We killed him last season.
I've been waiting for about an hour for this.
Hold on. Are you actually being serious? Plastic pitch. If you're used to playing on it, you'll play excellent. You see, if you're not used to playing on a plastic pitch, it'll make a big difference.
You know what?
And
about last
the
season?
team went to that
Underage,
pitch
right?
and
What about last
absolutely
season?
bossed them from minute 1 to minute 90.
Who did?
Did we
And
put him
his
under?
team.
Last
And
season.
his team bossed them for 90 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah. So there's that too, right? So it's a regression, if anything.
It's AstroTurf. That's what they mean by a plastic pitch. It's AstroTurf. They're playing AstroTurf in training, to be honest. So.
And we had like 38% possession, so that's the issue too. We completely gave him the ball and just played mid block and low block, which is, for me, it's shocking to see against them. That's unacceptable.
but he did say he set up Spurs not to lose. He went on record and said that.
But what's that approach? Like that approach against a smaller
But he's got,
team that's
supposedly, he's got a better squad than Big Ange, and he's gone and played worse.
Yeah.
He's gone on, we were by a country mile, as we know. A country mile's bigger than an urban mile. Worse against Bodo from May to September. Terrible.
And don't forget our first Champions League games, the Villarreal. It was also like a lucky win. So, I think we only had one good performance, and that was against City.
Oh no!
Every other game has been iffy.
No, the Burnley was good.
Is anyone thinking at this stage? I don't want to sound like I've learned a new term this week, and they've called it rage bait, where you make a comment and it seems like, oh, you're trying to get clicks or something.
No.
But is there something where we've been there before, and actually, rather than seeing what rather than the inevitable happening, we just cut it short. Like Nottingham Forest are probably going to get rid of Ange, unfortunately, whether you like him or not. It's not working out. Is there an argument that maybe we can see that this Spurs team ain't really going to be that great under Frank, and we get rid and bring in a Glasner?
But it's early
Not coming.
days.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
too early
people
for
trying
that.
to judge him now is crazy. It's a bit early. It's early days.
Super
He's
early.
missing Maddison and Cooley. It's a whole new front line. Let's be honest.
Sri Lanka.
Richie would not start for Tottenham. I don't care how good he looked for 2 or 3 games. He's not a starter. It's a whole new front line. So I think Spurs fans need to relax, chill out, and just go with the ride. It's early. How many games he played? 6, 7? How many games he played? I don't even know. How many games he played now?
I think it's 7.
7.
So it's not a lot of games. He's a new manager. He's getting used to the whole
third. When he
years. And we're
7 in the league, 2 in the Champions League as well.
Yeah, so I think Spurs fans, I keep saying just chill out. It's a new manager, man. I don't know. Chill out. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, don't get me wrong. I know he's not attacking. I love my attacking football. But for where we are in the league now, you can't really knock a guy for what he's got and the tools he's got. He's getting to know his new players, isn't it? So even I'm still optimistic. Once the players settle down, I think we could potentially do well. Spurs have never had a bad team. Even last year, when we were 17th, that weren't a true reflection of how good the team was. So us being where we are now is where we should be. Last year was just injuries. Before them injuries, Tottenham were doing well.
Yeah.
Even that Brighton game, 2-0 up away from home. Brendan scores that 3rd goal. I don't know how he missed that 3rd goal against Brighton. Spurs would have been in a whole different position. But we should, at half time, we battered Brighton, and then it's turned over us, isn't it? But yeah, I just feel, like I said, Spurs fans need to chill out sometimes. It's early days, and we're 3rd.
Yeah.
We're not Arsenal. Let's look how long Arteta's been at Arsenal. 5, 6 years. We're doing all right.
And so for you, you're quite happy would you be satisfied with Frank's job if we don't get Champions League this season, or does he need to get Champions League as a minimum?
It's his first season. I don't think he needs to get it. And we've got a lot of young players, We're over-reliant on Kudos at the moment. Let's be honest. Richie, I don't know, after 3 games, he's just gone back to old Richie. Solanke's going to take a while to come back. Our left side is not the best at the moment. Xabi, new player as well, getting used to the league. There's a whole lot of new elements to Spurs. And then even Tell as well. Oh, someone said amen.
Sorry, Marlon, it's a VAR. Richie did not.
Tell's got a lot of potential. We just need to give him time. Tell has got a lot of potential. Give him time.
No, man.
VAR to Marlon. Richarlison didn't become old Richie. He was the Richarlison all along. The 3 games was just a flash in the pan. It was a perfect catch.
No, he was good in those first 3 games.
He scored 2 worldies that he does everywhere, like the World Cup.
He was great against PSG as well. I'm not having that. Yeah, so I'm not having shade thrown at him for those 3 games. Everything else, yes.
Thanks.
He's not going to score goals for us. That's all I know.
Even against Bodo, he was rubbish against. I don't know. That game frustrated me. I'm not going to lie.
He runs around. He gives us work rate, which is great, but that's not his job. His job is to score goals, and he's shown his whole career. 12 goals is his top. He's never going to score you goals. My striker, I don't want him to run around and, the shithousery is all great, but that's not what he gets paid for. He gets paid to score goals, and he misses more sitters than anybody else I've seen. So I like the guy. He should manage our social media account. He's great on social media. As far as the striker, he's just not that guy. So if we expect him to do what he did against Burnley, it's not going to happen again. So for me, I love the guy, but no.
We got an Arsenal fan who's shaking his bum for Richarlison in Gunner 9683, who's saying he's not getting any service. That's the problem. I kind of agree. We're not. I mean,
Too often for me, Deji, he's not in the box to be on the end of service.
Yeah.
He seems to be caught in halfway. You know, he's either on the edge of the box or he's offside.
And his first touch is shocking. And how many headers does he miss? Like headers like 1 foot away from the goal, and he misses them. And it's supposed to be his strength.
Yeah, true.
He's so frustrating. Again, great guy, but
so Eugene, Gunner's saying it's because we don't have the ball though. That's his point. His point is Richarlison would be a decent striker if we could feed him the ball.
What about last season and season before? Like, it's not his first rodeo. So it's
fair enough.
I think he's an old school second striker. He needs, he needs to be playing as part of a pair. And although there's a lot of talk of us returning to 4-4-2. Even Pep's kind of flirted with it, but until it becomes like twin strikers, which I grew up with at Tottenham. God, amounts of pairs of strikers I saw at Tottenham is unbelievable. But it's not happening. It's a single striker. It killed Roberto Soldado at our place. He played in a 2 his whole career. Comes to Tottenham, he said, "Oh, you stay up there on your own."
Yeah.
But difference is, Sean, Soldado was skilled on the ball. He was actually a techie player. Richarlison, as a second striker, what does he offer? He cannot pass. His touch is terrible. He can't link up play. So I just don't feel like he has any of the attributes to be that deep line striker. I don't know. I just don't see. Like honestly, against top teams, I would play him on the left wing, and actually to help out the defense, because on the left wing against, when he played there, I think against PSG, he played on the left.
Yeah,
I believe, right?
Even Everton, he was decent on the left.
So, and again, he's not going to score, but at least he does all the other stuff. But as a striker, you need him to score goals, and he just doesn't have those attributes, in my opinion.
To be fair, he played on left for us a few times last year. He looked all right,
No, on the left, he can run around. He can do his, shithousery. He can.
Yeah.
He's anti-Johnson, who scores but doesn't do anything else. Richarlison, he does all the little things on the left. He just doesn't score. So it's pick your poison.
Damn. Look, Frank is doing all right. Marlon says give him time. Everyone else saying give Frank more time. Obviously, we're going to give him time. He deserves a bit of time. But last question, sorry, we got to go. But can Frank take us to the promised land?
What's that though? What's the promised land?
The league. Or does he do an Arteta, take us to second for like 3 years, and then we have to bring in a Nagelsmann to get it over the line? Like, what are we gonna get out of Frank? What is Frank bringing to Spurs?
Not Nagelsmann.
It's wrong. Your question is wrong, Dej. It's not about the managers here, as you well know. It's about investment. So it doesn't matter who the manager is, as we've seen with Conte and Jose, top managers. Unless we get investment, we bring in top players or not. Tells. It doesn't matter who you bring. You could bring in.
I disagree with that. I think
we can win the league.
An elite manager can take you over the top. You know what I mean?
But over the top from second to first, but not from where we are. The gap is so big between us and Arsenal and Liverpool. We need 5 first-team players to actually.
I think a genius manager like Jose in his Porto era can kind of someone of that ilk, like a genius. I don't know. Glasner could be in that realm right now, but
it's a different era though.
It's a bit early. Like with Frank, I think you give him 3 seasons to see what he can. If he can
3
actually
seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, mate.
You don't win championships like.
I feel like we need to finish in a good position in the league.
No, but if you're finishing, what I mean is give him 3 seasons to see if he can win the league. Like if you're finishing top 4 consistently, you're going deep in the Champions League. That is huge success for Tottenham, I think. So
Pre-season, Deji, I said we're going to finish 8th.
Yeah,
that's my minimum. I want us to finish 8th.
Yeah,
I want deep runs in the Carabao and the FA Cup, but obviously that's down to draws. Can we get to the knockout stages of the Champions League, even if it's like the extra rounds. That would be success, and that will be a good sort of first season. I don't have big expectations this season, but I'll tell you what I do want. I want attacking football at White Hart Lane. Otherwise, I'll be sleeping next to Marlon in the stadium.
Yeah, yeah. Trust me.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been rough. It hasn't been a good look. But
yeah. So, well, that means that the Spurs fan base, there's no expectations for us to get Champions League football. We just want to see something.
So if we won the FA Cup, I would be over the moon, over the bloody moon. It's ridiculous that this team, who in 1991, when I walked out of Wembley, were the record holders of that trophy, and haven't won it again since 1991. Come on.
Yeah, I know it's been a while.
You know, all the Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, all these horrible defeats. Our team should be challenging. You know, we should be there second Saturday in May at Wembley. You and me, Deji, you know, living it up. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
You know, so I want us to go deep in the domestic trophies. I don't expect, you know, if we can get in, you know, even if we just got the Conference League, that's fine. That's fine. We finished 17th last year.
For real.
You know, there's like this season, honestly, like it's not even about where we finish. For me, it's about the ownership. Like, cause like the
ownership have offered us things. They've said we want to win. Yeah. Win more often and whatever. I can't remember what they said when they finally got rid of Levy. Was it win more often and more? You know.
And to Zeus's point, what Zeus said is like, yes, we should be able to compete, but like what I want to see, like I know what Frank can do. I guess what I want to see is if the problem with the club was Levy, or if the problem was ENIC, because everybody was Levy out. Well, not everybody, but I was Levy out, and everybody said Levy is holding us back. So now Levy is gone, and now you know the old children and ENIC and this and that, they don't want to sell, which is cool. But I think we're gonna get our answer in January. If on January 2nd we have a player lined up, and we get, let's say, 2 players in January who are gonna help us, we're gonna be, you know what? They're going to back the club, and maybe, as Zeus said, in 2-3 years, we can challenge. If January is going to be like any other January, and next season in transfer window, it's the same old transfer window, then the issue might not be Levy all along. It could be ENIC, and we're going to be in the same boat. So, I mean, I think we should be able to finish 6th, right? But it's not even about this season for me. It's where the club will be in 2, 3, 4 years, and that depends on the ownership. If I see them being ambitious, then I'm gonna have hope for the future. And like, you know what? Eventually, we can improve the squad and can challenge. If we don't improve the squad and it wasn't Levy all along, it was ENIC, then we're in the square one. And then I'm gonna be negative about the club. So I think for me that's more important than where we finish the season. It's kind of a long-term picture of where the club is heading.
That's what Driver Peanut said.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No manager's ever won the Prem without already having an amazing squad or major backing, apart from Leicester.
And Leicester had top ballers, so Leicester had amazing players. So
yeah,
undervalued players. Wait, going back to Blackburn, were they like a superstar? I know Shearer was there, but
yeah, Shearer was there. That was a good team, man. Tim Sherwood, Alan Shearer. Yeah,
the times are different, Zeus. Now it's not those times. Now
with all the money
in the Prem, right? If you look at the teams. You know
I was just trying to see if it was consistent.
Yeah. They spent a lot of money then, Blackburn.
Huh?
Yeah, they spent a lot of money when Blackburn won it.
Yeah.
Chris Sutton was up front with Shearer, wasn't he?
Shearer, Sherwood, Wilcott.
David Batty on there?
Yeah.
I think David
Batty as well. I think he was
So Machina Joe says, look, AC Milan 93-94, managed to win the league, scoring 36 goals and only conceding 15 in 34 games. He loves a 1-0. Mate, I'll take a 1-0 if it brings us the league. I don't give a damn. I'm a shameless brother. And if Frank can do the unthinkable, we would all celebrate and shake our bum violently, but it would be a snore fest. And I would say to you that Spurs fan base are no different to any other fan base. Even if we won the league with that kind of football, I think after season 2, season 3, we'd be like, now we're done with it. We don't want to win the league like this. Like, we want to win the league the Spurs way, not this dusty way. But look, that is something we would love to do. I want to say thank you, Sean, Eugene, Marlon, and Zeus for giving up your evenings, your afternoons to be here. Big up to everyone that's locked in, locked on. Look out for me chopping up, hopefully, Josh later in the week. I will be doing Step to the Mic on Friday. If you want to join that, please join in. Until then, thank you very much and come on, you Spurs.